seats. Let's take our seats. We had two more public comments left on the citizens forum. So we'll go ahead and do those, and we're going to go into the agenda items, all right? So if we could, if I can have David Bryant, if you would state your name and address.
David Bryant, 6 Red Oak Circle, Hickory Creek, Texas, 75065. My wife and I moved here in 1999 because we liked the attitude of the city. We liked the promise of it. And then we found out that this may take place. Well, I want to tell you what. I'm a heart transplant patient and a diabetic. Station 1 in Lake Dallas is 1 to 3 minutes away from me. If you pull out and we build a fire station, you're going to build it here on city property, I would assume. And it's going to take you at least 10 minutes from here to get to my house if I need medical attention, which could happen at any one time, at any breath. Now, I sent out an email to the mayor and the city council yesterday. I got 2 replies back this morning. And I just hope that this decision is not like a lot of planning and zoning commissions, where we sit there and talk and give you our opinion, and then you ignore it. And go on and do what you want to do in place of people if you agree with them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Speak up.
Speak of the mic.
My name's Jeremy Wilson.
Excuse me. Mike's not on.
My name's Jeremy Wilson. I live at 507 Maverick Drive, Precinct 5. Try this again. My name is Jeremy Wilson. I live at 507 Maverick Drive in Lake Dallas, Texas. You know, I've heard a lot of comments about Sprint being a strong arm, and you know they're putting a hammer on us. But where is Sprint today? Were they invited? They were. Because I have information or not. Mr. Gordon, do you like your 14 ranking in the state or this area? Because if you lose your ISO rating, it goes to an A10. Your vendors and investors and commercial properties are gone. They're not going to come in here and invest in your town. They're going to go to the next town over that has a 3-4 that can support their needs. Your response times are going to increase. I can tell you as a fireman that what you're expecting to do, you're going to keep the same professional services. Your budget for training is $5,000. Yeah, right. Okay. You may be able to train one fireman to the caliber that Lake City's Fire Department has. Maybe one. And let's say 10 years down the road, you might have a professional fire department. When I got to my current department, we had a lot to learn. It took us 10 years. We burned down a lot of houses. Hurt a lot of people. Okay? You guys need to take a look at the decision that you're making. Your numbers, who's being deceptive? Take a look at your numbers. Who put these together? Did you consult with a professional analyst? I don't think so. Because there is no way that these numbers reflect an upstart department. There's absolutely no way. You know, I did the math, and it's kind of funny that y'all left y'all's frontline fire department off here. Frontline fire engine, it says finance. Be $80,000 a year for the same fire engine that Lake City's currently has, which puts you within about, you know, 2,000 to 4,000 as to what you're paying right now. That you already have. 30 firemen responding, relationships around the county. They know who to call. Just like Clint said, he knows his district. I could ask him anything about his district right now. He could tell you exactly where to go, where it is, and how it's done. You upstart a department with an inexperienced chief, inexperienced personnel, and I guarantee you, it's going to be a lot worse in this room when these people get here, wondering why their mom's dead, why their house is burned. Why did you stop that wildfire that, you know, burnt down my house and my 10 neighbors? Because they're inexperienced. It's going to take 10 to 15 years. And you guys have to live with that. You guys are going to have to go home and go to sleep and know that people are dead, people are dying, and houses are burning up. up because of an ignorant decision. Consult some people and make an informative decision before you do this. Today's not the day. You don't have all the information you need, I can assure you. Just by looking at your numbers. Thank you.
We're now going to close the public comment, move into the business items. B, public hearing, no public hearing held. C, consent agenda items. D, regular items. Consider an act on the local agreement with the City of Corinth for fire services. And let me go ahead and answer some questions. And this is not going to be an interaction with the crowd, because this isn't a public forum as far as an exercise that way. Why are we here today? I'll tell you why we're here today, because I called a meeting today. Why did I call at 1 o'clock? Because I gave people time to get out of church. We gave time for these council members, which are traveling during the holiday week and weekend. We don't put this thing off until the end of the month, which would be our meeting, third Tuesday of the month, which would be the end of July. I felt it was this important that we get up here and talk about what Lake Dallas talked about on Thursday night. That's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon. It's not just y'all's time, it's my time too, away from my family. So that's why we're here this morning, this afternoon. That's why we're all here. We individually called everybody and said, can you make this meeting, is this time good for everybody? Because we feel it's this important to get out here and talk about this item. Not because we want to just be up here, we're going to hide something. If I wanted to hide it, I could have made this for 8:30 Sunday morning when people are in church. I could have made it for Sunday night at 9 o'clock at night. I made it at 1 o'clock after church in the afternoon when people could be here. Not the holiday week next week on 4th of July, when a lot of people are on vacation. Mr. Kennedy just got in last night from a 2-week trip from Florida to Alabama at 11 o'clock at night. Mr. Gordon was in Milwaukee on Friday when I called him. There's no hidden agenda here. We need to talk about this. It's important. We've tried to talk to Corinth over the last couple months. We received a contract from Corinth in December. Does anybody know when that contract should have been in our hands? In September. 4 to 5 months later, we got a contract from the City of Corinth. Here's your contract. Look over it. Tell us what you want to do. In December, that's when we got that contract. We talked about it. Ran some exercises. We're not happy with these items. We don't think the town of Hickory Creek would be happy with some of these items in this contract. Was cost an issue? Cost is always an issue. Was getting rid of the fire department an issue? No. We never said we want to get rid of the fire department. Never said we did not want Lake City's fire department in our town. Never said that at all. Not one time did we say that. But there are some terms, some very important terms in that contract that we felt were important, not only to us as a council, but to the citizens of Hickory Creek. And those terms are important to all citizens when you talk about taxes. And people say, well, you can raise my taxes, I'm fine with that. Do you want us just to raise taxes just because we want to give away a contract? I mean, anybody that does contract negotiations, you just don't give it away. Is Corinth bigger than we are? Yeah, they got 20,000 people. We got 3,200. Somebody mentioned our budget. Yeah, there's a reason why we got $2 million in the bank. Because we felt like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing as elected officials for this town. We have a rainy day fund that other towns are in trouble, which I've heard everybody in the state of Texas is in trouble but Hickory Creek. I wonder why. Because we've taken it upon ourselves to look at the details. Do we have all the details for these exercises that you brought up? You don't have this, you don't have that. Chief, I remember when you were in this town, you live right down the street from me. A lot of respect for you, a lot of respect. Do we have all the answers? No. Do we call this an exercise to see where we're at? Yes. And why did we do that? Because we've got no communication from the town of Corinth. Our city manager and police chief has reached out to him twice after we got the proposal back. You know when we got a proposal back to sign? April. April. The deadline is September 30th. So why would you be 5 months late in getting us your contract to us and then turn around and put the proposal back to sign in April? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Doesn't give us a lot of wiggle room to do what we should do, which is due diligence for the town of Hickory Creek and for the citizens of this town. Especially because we're elected to do that. And I feel that's very, very important that everybody know that. We didn't know that. So what happened? Communication. Where did communication break down at? What did we do? We started an exercise. We started grabbing numbers. What's it going to take? How much is it going to cost? Where are we going to be? What's good for the citizens? Did we start in November like somebody told me yesterday when I was out in the neighborhoods? No, we didn't start in November. If we started in November, guess what? Boy Scout model, we prepared. We'd be ready to walk away. Right? We'd be ready to get out that quick. Because we would have already been prepared to walk that contract. We're not prepared to walk. And our projections show, as a town by ourselves, to try to put a label inside of a fire truck, we're short about $300,000 by ourselves. Have we already checked to see if we can go buy the equipment? Yeah, we got a pristine rating from Standard & Poor's in this town. We got a great rating in this town. We even got deferred payment for 1 year to buy a new engine, new ambulance, secondary ambulance, and secondary fire truck. So we're there as far as that's concerned. So what do? We waited for Corinth to communicate back to us. Did we get it? No. Our chief sent 2 emails. We need to talk. We need to talk. Let me go back one step before that. We did meet with the town of Corinth. Myself, Jeff McSpadden, Chief Roger Magner. They're appointed person, not the council. Because let everybody know what's going on. We as a council decided that we want to negotiate this contract as all of us, as a team. They appointed their city manager to do the negotiations for them. That's it. He is the mouthpiece for the city of Corinth. None of the council, nobody else, not the mayor, Mr. Brazina. So Mr. Brazina comes to our town hall after we invited him with the finance director and chief of the fire department. We talk it out. Here's what we're not happy with. We're not happy with these things. The cost is 11% higher than the last contract. We get that. It goes down the next year. I think it's 3 or 5, something like that. Don't quote me on that. It goes down the next year. You know what? We're happy with those numbers. Let me tell you what we're not happy with, because I want everybody to know what the terms are before we start this discussion. And I've said it so many times, I sometimes forget, so I have to write it down. We want, in the terms, if you don't spend the money that we give you on equipment, they want an extra $1.2 million on top of the contract. If you don't spend that money, or if you don't hire an EMS position that you terminated 2 years ago, we want that money to come back to the town. So we're not going to give you the town's money, you not spend it, and it not come back to the town when it goes to your general fund. That doesn't make sense. Why would I give you our town's money to go to your general fund if you didn't do what you said you're going to do for our fire department? All right? That was number 1 we asked for. Number 2, a simple one. Very simple, but it helps them in accounting, ins and outs, AP. Instead of going monthly billing, let's send us a quarterly bill. Just send us a quarterly bill. Let us sit on our money, and then we'll pay you through that, right? Quarterly billing. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. All right? CPI. Councilman Kinney brought up CPI. Why did y'all sealing it out at 6%? Why is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, so high? And the answer was, well, we just don't know what's going to happen. It's not going to happen. If it goes above 6%, we don't want to be in big trouble. All right? For the last 5 to 8 years, it's never gone even close. So why didn't you put that in there? All right? 6% is really high. All right? And the last and foremost is a 1 year out. If none of us are up here in 3 years and a new council comes in, a new mayor, we want to give the opportunity, if they're not happy with the service, which there should be no reason why, because we get great service already, they have the opportunity to say, you know what, we're going to 1 year opt out of this. We want an out clause. Any contract that anybody negotiates has an out clause. Any contract. Because if you're not happy with what's going on, because what everybody's got to remember is, this is no longer Hickory Creek's fire department. This is Corinth's fire department. We share the cost. We subcontract from the city of Corinth. We pay them for their services. When we negotiated that 5 years ago, and I was part of that team, they said, which we really like, keep it Lake City's fire department. We don't want it Corinth. We don't want a Corinth fire truck sitting in Lake Dallas stall coming to Hickory Creek to start a fire. We kept it Lake City's. That was very, very important to us, that name. Does the name matter that we had a Hickory Creek fire truck if we were to get it in our town? That make a difference to me. I don't think anybody up here. But those are the terms. I just told you what the terms were. We get, if you don't spend our money, you give it back to us, right? We get a 1 year out. If we're not up here and somebody comes in, they're not happy with the service, or they want to change something, we put an out clause in there. We want 1 year. Originally, I asked for 180 days. And that was an email that was sent, 180 days. Because that's what I talked about back then when we talked to them. They said, you know what, we'd be a little bit happier if it was 1 year. They said that. We all walked out of the room, we're fine with this. I think we're going to be good, we're going to go talk about it. We get a contract back in April, and it's got one thing in it. June. We get the contract back in June, what we talked about. Here's your contract, ready for you to sign. Guess which one was in it? I'll tell you which one's in it. You could pay us quarterly instead of monthly. That's it. That's it. So that's the only thing that's hanging us up. It's not our firemen. It's not the service we're receiving. They're doing a bang-up job for this town. We love them. But we can't negotiate for this town on behalf of this town as a council or a mayor if it's not benefiting the citizens of Hickory Creek. And that's what we're here to do. That's what we elected to do in the first place. I felt like it was important to meet on Sunday. Lake Dallas had a meeting Thursday night to discuss it. I reached over to our neighbors in Lake Dallas and said, you know what? Where y'all going with your contract? We haven't signed our contract yet. Are y'all looking at it? We're analyzing it. What happens if we do this? You know, what do we got to do to stir the pot to get Corinth to talk to us? So we started talking. They put some numbers together. They looked at our numbers. We're still putting numbers together. This has been nothing but an exercise. Like I said, if we were going to be prepared, I would have started this back last year. Last year. This is just started. This is all preliminary? Sure it is. Are we missing some costs? Sure we are. Is there some cost in here that we didn't even include, like ambulance reimbursement? No. There's over $400,000 when ambulances come to Hickory Creek, Lake Dallas, Corinth, that insurance companies pay back to them. And guess what? What we looked at in analyzing this new contract was, when we started this 5 years ago, Corinth had 62% of the state. After looking at the numbers, Corinth now has 48% of the state. And why is that? Because that supplemental insurance check coming in from the insurance company on the ambulance service is going right to their bottom line. And I'm not happy about it. That's why we're discussing this. This is why we're here today to talk about this. I would like to keep the same firemen here. This is what we want to do. We don't want to make that change. It's a huge headache. I work a full-time job, I've got 3 kids, I'm busy all the time. But I'm still concentrating on this because you as a citizens elected me and this council to get up here and do this, and to do this homework and to be prepared and look at these things. Our fire service is number one. We know it. We want to keep it. But we also got to look out for the bottom line of our citizens and the impact it's going to have later on down the road. I don't want to be here 2 years from now saying we're going to have to increase taxes because we didn't forecast ahead of time for this budget. That's not what it's for. We're not going to keep raising taxes to supplement our budget coming from our town next to us that wants to keep raising the cost. When we can negotiate civilly, fairly, across the table and make this happen. You know, I had a good conversation with about 5 firemen yesterday at Lakewood Gardens picnic bench table. We talked. We left there, we went to the firehouse and had pizza. And then we made some phone calls, just like Mr. Ferguson said. Next thing you know, we had myself, the mayor of Lake Dallas, and the mayor of Corinth in the room, along with 3 firemen. And then we discussed it all. We laid it all out there. Not a harsh word was said. Nothing bad came out of it. Nobody got mad. But we said, this is what we need. This is what we need. We need you to go back and think about it. Think about what you presented to us in your contract. Make it fair to everybody. Make it fair to everybody. So I felt like it was good discussion on that. And I hope the mayor of Corinth goes back and talks to the city manager and they discuss it. And they know the importance of it to this town, to Lake Dallas, and to Shady Shores. Because I got a very, very good email from the mayor of Shady Shores last night too, Jerry Williams, begging me just to sign. Find the money somewhere, just sign it. Don't put yourself through this headache. I respect what you say. I respect it. But you got to look at the bottom line. There's a reason why we're at where we're at today in this town, because we try to do our due diligence. And I hope everybody respects that. Did I like the brochure that went out from the firemen? No, I didn't like it, because they had information that was based on exercises, phone calls that were made, and so forth. That's not their fault. You know, they had what they had when they presented that brochure, and it scared a lot of people. I got a lot of phone calls, a lot of discussion on the phone. I think I spent all day yesterday on the phone talking to citizens, talking about it. But they didn't have all the facts when they gave you that brochure. Are we going to break away and have no fire service? Heck no. Heck no, we're not. Why would I jeopardize my own family? I mean, it doesn't make sense. We're not going to run from a contract because we're not happy with it, but we are going to sit down and negotiate that contract for the betterment of the town. So that's where we're at. September 30th is the drop dead date. What we're probably going to do is we're going to discuss what we got from Lake Dallas, their exercise that they did today. We're going to talk about maybe going back to Corinth, and I'm going to bring it to the council and say, you know what? You were behind on that contract almost 4 to 5 months. We want you to give us to December to work this out and extend the same contract that we have right now, which is the end of this 5-year agreement. Give us to December, just like you gave us that contract in December. Let's keep talking it out and open up the lines of communication. But we need those lines of communication to come back to us. All right? So I'd like to be able to go into this agenda and start talking about it. And I'm sorry I had to talk about it like this. I mean, it really kept me up all night. I didn't like it. Now, I know my voice started to quiver. But it really means a lot to this town to me. And this town means a lot. I'm only gonna do what's best for the town, all right? I'm not gonna sacrifice firemen or anybody in this town for the lack of safety. Safety's number one. But we gotta do our due diligence as a town when it comes to these. Because if not, we're just doing like everybody else does. Just sign it and let it go. Sign it, let it go. So.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for your information. Mayor, I wanna tell you how much I appreciate you. And I'd like to say for myself, thank you to the gentleman in the back that was at our last meeting. You know, I would love to see all of you at every meeting. We're not trying to do anything under the radar up here. Every meeting is posted on the front of this building, 72 hours in advance. It was posted online. It was put out, we even have a Twitter account. Follow us on Twitter. You get that update saying that the meeting's been posted. You know, I sincerely would love to have all of you at every meeting we have. Second of all, shame on the news media for being here through part of the meeting and leaving when we get ready to discuss something. Shame on you. I'd also like to say that I was new on this council 5 years ago. I attended a meeting at Lake Dallas High School that was called on the prior contract, which I'm holding in my hand. I attended a meeting there at which we were going to have Lake Dallas, Hickory Creek, and Corinth all involved in a joint meeting. Lake Dallas was there, their council was there, Hickory Creek and our council was there. We sat, and there was a whole empty row of chairs and table that didn't get filled because Corinth didn't show up. So that's how that last contract was, you know, that came down to the 11th hour as well. That was a huge disappointment to me. I was brand new in city government and you know, I just thought everybody got along and talked. But I found out quickly that we didn't. Thursday night at the meeting in Lake Dallas, I understand that our financial secretary went to the financial director for Corinth after the meeting and said, can we sit down and talk about this? And she scheduled a meeting for tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock? 9 a.m. Friday afternoon, I was up here, our town hall closes at noon on Friday. I was up here with Christy and Jeffrey, working on some details for this meeting, just getting things together. Late Friday afternoon, our offices were already closed. Christy got an email from the finance director in Corinth just saying, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to meet Monday. Christy already knew that she was going to be out of town Wednesday through Friday and isn't going to be able to meet then. So Christy responded back immediately, how about if we meet Tuesday instead of Monday? Christy, have you heard back from her? No response. That's a disappointment to me when we can't get, you know, we're handed a contract, we're told here it is. Folks, we're not out there, you know, I had 4 firemen stop by my house today. I invited them in, we sat down, we had a good discussion, thank you. I think the world of our firefighters, believe me, you know, I live in this community, none of us up here wants to do anything to put our name on the side of a fire truck. That's so far off the radar. It's, you know, it's just not there. I care about this community. I care about every one of you that put me in this chair. And when I make a decision, I do it not for just what I want or don't want. Sometimes I make decisions I don't really like. But I feel like that's what the community wants me to do. You know, a former councilman told me when I very first started to run for office, I talked to Richard Baker and I said, you know, Richard, I don't know if I'm up for the job. And he said, listen, he said, if you will weigh out all the options and if you'll make a decision based on what you think is right, you can lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that you didn't make it out of ego, You made it out of concern for citizens that put you there. That was the best advice somebody ever has given me as far as how to be a good council person. I took that to heart, and I know that you put your trust in me, but I want you to remember, I'm a member of this community too, and I have to live with every decision I make. And I said, I stood right down here, I've done it 3 different times, and taken an oath of office to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the people of Victory Creek. There is no way on this earth that I would ever do anything that I think would compromise your safety, or my safety, or our firemen's safety. I hope you'll understand that what we're trying to negotiate with someone that wanted to meet with us, the people that we feel like are important to meet with. Thank you.
Let's start talking about this. Somebody's got a comment. Let's go into this. Everybody got a chance to look at the budget that Lake Dallas put together. They talked about what would happen if we all teamed up with us, shared fire services and so forth. We all know what we have from Corinth at this point. As far as the contract's concerned, we know where we're at with Corinth. Roger put in another phone call tomorrow to the city manager and try to set up something again. And like I said, he's been appointed the mouthpiece for the town of Corinth as far as discussions and everything. I like to see that change. I like to be able to sit down with them. I think anybody up here would want to sit down with them and a panel type meeting and talk about this if they have any concerns. But we know where Corinth's at. We're here today to discuss the Lake Dallas proposal that they presented to us and go from there. We're here to make a decision. If somebody wants to step out and make a decision today on something, you go right ahead. That's what we're here for, is for a vote. Myself personally, I want everybody here to discuss what Lake Dallas has given us, because we don't need people making phone calls, doing things behind the public's back. It's here to discuss what they gave us. Are these numbers right? This is the numbers they came up with. I don't know if they're right or not. Where did they get them from? They got them from their sources and so forth like that during their exercise. Are some of these higher than what we said? Of course they are. Is Lake Dallas saying that they would like the fire service partner with Hickory Creek? Yes. Why? Because they have a dispatch service already in place in the town of Lake Dallas. They already have the fire station in place in Lake Dallas, which also services this side of town, the west side of Hickory Creek. We do have a fire department up north, just off Shady Shores Road, that also services for backup for anybody in Lake Dallas. But their proposal would be to use that station to do both sides of the town, which is what's always done in the past. Now in the future, is that going to be good for us with the growth that we see coming? We've got a lot of growth coming. There's a lot of stuff on the radar. There's the Goldfield on Turkeyville. There's the apartments that's going to be down here off Turkeyville. We got new subdivisions going in front of us out by Lakeview, 43 homes. We have another one that's coming back over here that are coming in front of us as a town. So we've got a lot of growth on the horizon. So we've got to really think about this hard, because we may need to start planning our own budget in September. At 5 years from now, we need to start saving money for that other station on this side, because the population density is going to need that. Not only that, this development over here in the ETJ, with what they call the PID, and those homes over there, Hickory Creek, the way we negotiated that contract, we're going to be the first in line for fire services to that contract when that gets built out. So whether that be subcontract back to the lake cities, however this is going to work, we're first in line for that. So we've got to think about those things 5 years from now at the same time as we discuss our own budget in September. So a lot of things to think about when we start talking about this stuff. Is Lake Dallas a good partner for us? I had some phone calls yesterday that said, you know what, maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't be a good partner. Who's going to end up all the cash? Where's this coming from? What are they going to do? What's their part? And all those kinds of things. Well, you know what? You have to weigh out that partnership to a partnership that doesn't communicate, that hands us a piece of paper that we're supposed to sign. We got to lay out all that on the table and say what's best for the town, how we provide the safety that we need, and so forth. So we've got a proposal here in front of us, council, that we need to look at. I really don't want to go line by line in these items, because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not completely familiar with each item. I can do it like our own budget. This is not looking at the Hickory Creek budget. This is looking at a fire budget. And I don't know, maybe some of you have done some research before coming in here today. You've only had 3 days to do it. So we can talk about it. We need to just get that in the open, what we're looking at doing, potentially doing, and what we're looking for in the future. So,